Hey guys, so today I'm here with the Axial LED fog lights with the daytime running light fitting all 2010 to 2018 JK Wranglers. So these are going to be for the JK owner looking to upgrade their lighting performance, but also give a little bit of a refresh to the front end of your Wrangler. So there's a number of different reasons why you would want to upgrade your fog lights. Maybe you've broken one on the trail and you're looking for a new set. Maybe you're just not happy with the lighting performance that your incandescent factory bulbs are giving you, or you're just looking to match these with any other LED that you already have mounted up to the front end of your Wrangler. So these are going to be a good solution on all of those fronts, while also adding a daytime running light in the actual fog light for a little bit of extra style. So these are going to increase your lighting performance, increase your visibility on the road with a very powerful LED, but they're also, like I said, going to give you a little bit of a refresh with the bright white color temperature, giving your Jeep a more of an upgraded look overall. So these are going to be $130, and I personally think that's a pretty good price point for what you're getting out of this package. Now, other more expensive options are usually going to be those premium brands like Putco and Casey highlights. They may have different designs to them that are a little bit more in depth, like fog lights with multiple LEDs integrated into the face of them, or they're just going to be different technology like an HID or a back-facing LED. Now, I do like the fact that these are very simple. They're still going to give you all that lighting performance and the upgraded look that you want out of a fog light, but they're going to keep it on the affordable side with the simplicity and still give you a really nice and stealthy look and a very clean look overall. So I definitely think that these are a great choice to take a look at. So install is going to be a very easy 1 out of 3 wrenches on the difficulty meter. There is a little bit of wiring involved. However, it's very simple, so you're going to need a couple of basic hand tools and about an hour's worth of your time. So speaking of that install, let's jump into that now. The tools that I used for my install were a 1/2-inch drive ratchet, a pair of pliers, a flathead screwdriver, an 18mm deep socket, a T15 torque socket, a small extension, and an impact wrench. So the first step of our install is just to unclip our wiring harnesses for our fog lights. All you have to do is depress a clip and they will pop right off. So you can do that for both fog lights. And then what we can do next is head underneath our Jeep so we can remove our bumper. So now that we're underneath our Jeep, you're going to need an 18mm deep socket and a ratchet, and we can remove the nuts that are on the back side of our studs that are holding on our bumper. Now you're going to have 8 of these, 4 on each frame horn. Now we can repeat that process for the other 6 bolts. So after we have all of our hardware removed, we can go ahead and remove our bumper. So now that we have our bumper off, we have full access to our fog lights. Now you don't necessarily need to take the front bumper off in order to swap them out, but it does make the process a whole lot easier. So now we can remove the hardware that is holding in our fog light. I'm going to use a 10mm socket in order to do so, as well as my electric drive. So we've taken our fog lights out a number of times, so we are missing a little bit of hardware. However, I'm going to use a 10mm socket in order to remove the 2 bolts that are holding in our fog light. Now your hardware may look a little different. You may have to use a Phillips head screwdriver in order to remove them, but as soon as you have all the hardware removed, we can fully remove our fog light. So before we go ahead and install our new fog lights, I did want to sit them next to the factory ones and give you guys a little bit of a comparison. Now overall, the housing and the lighting performance is going to be a huge upgrade in comparison to your factory fog lights. Now starting off with the housing, they are going to look a lot sleeker and a lot more attractive. You do get a black face on the inside, giving it a stealthy look, and you're also getting 2 strips for a daytime running light, which your fog light from the factory is unable to offer you. These are also just going to be a lot more durable. They have a polycarbonate lens on the front, so if you're out on the trail and you take a branch to the fog light, they're not going to shatter and they're not going to be damaged, protecting the LED inside. These are also going to be dustproof and waterproof with an IP68 rating, and that's going to be a little bit higher than the standard, ensuring that if you take a dunk with the front end of your Wrangler in some water, or if you're just on the trail and there's dust kicking up all day, that the LEDs inside are still going to be protected. So moving on to the LED lighting performance, these are going to be a lot brighter than your factory incandescent bulb. They're going to shine a lot farther, and they're also going to have a more uniform light pattern, helping out with your visibility at night on dark back roads and even some dark trails. Now, along with the lighting performance, these are also going to be a lot cooler, giving you a more upgraded and modernized look in comparison to your factory incandescent bulb that can usually give off a warm hue or a warm tone out of that bulb. So these are even going to match with any upgraded headlight or upgraded running lights that you have already that are LED with that cooler color temperature. So enough about these two on the table. Let's go ahead and install our new fog lights. Now we can go ahead and bolt up our fog lights into our bumper. Now you want to make sure that you're lining up the pins on the top of your fog lights. So since the top of our bumper is facing me, the 2 holes on the upper tabs are going to be facing the top. Then I just grab some replacement hardware. I'm still going to be using that 10mm socket that we used before, and we can just reinstall those 8 bolts holding in our fog light. So after we have our fog lights bolted in, we can re-bolt up our front bumper. So you just tighten those down with our 18mm socket. So now that we're finished bolting up our bumper and our fog lights, now we have to do a little bit of wiring in order to get these powered up. So since these do incorporate a daytime running light, we will have to tap into our marker light over at the side as well as our headlight. So we're gonna have to take off our grille to access our headlight wiring. So first what we're gonna do is pop our hood. So then what we can go ahead and do is take a flathead screwdriver and start removing the 6 pop clips that are holding in the top of our grille. Now you can also use a trim removal tool. I feel like a flathead screwdriver is a little bit easier to work with. Just be careful of your paint if you are using a flathead. So before we actually pop off our grille, we do want to make sure that we disconnect our turn signal lights. And then you can do the same thing on the other side. So now we can give our grille a little tug and pop it out of place. Just put it to the side so we can reinstall it later. So now we can remove our headlight with a T15 Torx bit. I'm using a Torx socket, a small extension, and my electric drive. We have to remove the 4 screws that are holding in our headlight retainer so we can pull out our headlight. Once your headlight's disconnected from the headlight bucket, we can pull the wiring harness out and disconnect our headlight. We're gonna put this to the side because we'll reinstall that later. So while we're over here, before we grab our wiring harness, I am just going to quickly disconnect our marker light. It's very hard to see, so all you have to do is reach up behind your fender where your marker light is and just depress that clip and it will pop right out. So now we can go grab our harness and start wiring. So along with your fog lights, you are gonna get a wiring harness, and this one is specifically gonna be for your daytime running light. So we're gonna tap our yellow lead into our wiring harness for our headlight. You are gonna use the outer wire. It's gonna be the white wire with the gray trace, and we are gonna be on the passenger side because of how the wiring harness is actually set up. And then we're gonna take our red wire and tap that into our marker light, which is gonna be the white wire with the green trace. Now you can splice these and splice into them. What I'm gonna do is use a vampire clip in order to tap a feed into these. So we are going to hook this onto our white wire. So we're gonna hook this pretty far up our white wire, make sure that's in place, put our red wire into place. I also like that this has an inline fuse on it. Then I'm just going to take a pair of pliers. Then you can clamp down on the clip. That's gonna put that pin into both of these, making sure that these connect, and then we can snap that down and into place. Now we can repeat that process on our headlight wiring harness. Move this over. I'm actually going to pass this up behind the headlight bucket. And we can just repeat that process for your outer wire. It's gonna be the same thing on the other side, but you wanna make sure that you're doing this on the passenger side because that is how our wiring harness is configured. It's longer on the driver's side so we can reach across to that other fog light. We're just gonna hook that on, put our lead into place, make sure that those are both sitting inside where our pin is going to be clamped down at. We take our pliers, clamp that down, and then close up our clip. So now that those are wired in, you're gonna wanna tuck everything up and get it out of the way, but let's go ahead and plug in our fog lights and then we'll clean up our wiring. So once your daytime running lights are wired in, we can take our main control box. This lead at the end, the single lead, is going to be connected to our fog light. Then we have our one lead that's gonna be connected to our daytime running light, and then our factory wiring harness connection. And this is going to be connected to where our factory plug is. So let's start off with our daytime running light. We can just clip this right into place. Here, a little clip. Then we can grab our factory connection. Plug that into place. And then after those two connections are in, we can actually connect it to our fog light. You're gonna have 4 little pins. You wanna align, there's going to also be a tab up at the top. You wanna make sure that it's aligned properly. Then we can take our protector down, thread that on, and then those connections are sealed. Now you wanna make sure that we're mounting this up. We'll mount it up in just a second, but you are gonna want to do the same process for the other fog light. So now we can do the same thing on the other side with our control box. As you can tell, our daytime running light wire for this side is a lot longer. That's because it's farther out. Clip that into place, grab our factory connection. As you can tell, we already have leads on here for other types of fog lights. But you want to make sure that it's in the factory connection, and then we can connect our control box to our fog light. Tighten that down. So after everything's wired up, we can go ahead and plug in our marker light. After that's clipped into place, we can reinstall our headlight. We can clip in our wiring harness. Then reinstall our headlight with the factory screws. And after our headlight's in, we can move to reinstalling our grill. So before you pop your grill back on, I would recommend to clean up some of your wiring with some zip ties and find a location where you can mount your control boxes, and then you can go ahead and reinstall your grill. So what we're gonna do is just pop this back into place. Then we can take our clips and clip the top back in. Then we can plug in our factory turn signals. Do the same thing on the other side. So now our last step after we've cleaned up our wiring and plugged in our turn signals is just to close up our hood. So that's gonna wrap it up for my review and install. Make sure you like and subscribe, and for more videos like this, always keep it right here at ExtremeTerrain.com.